Hello everyone, welcome to Drishti IAS. You're watching the NCERT Foundation Series and today we are going to attempt some questions on the topic of local governments. So without further ado, let's plunge right in with the previous day question. So your previous day question was a PYQ from 2015 and it asked you, the provisions in the 5th schedule and 6th schedule in the Constitution of India are made in order to. Now, the key to solving this question is very straightforwardly trying to understand the content of the 5th and the 6th schedule, and we are going to do that right about now. So, the 5th as well as the 6th schedule is what exactly? See, both of these schedules consist of special administrative arrangements. Why? Because these states contain significant number of tribal population, all right. So basically what it contains is special administrative arrangements for significant tribal population in these states, given that they have unique culture, unique vulnerabilities that have been caused by their historical marginalization. Now, how are the two schedules different? How are they different? So, the 5th schedule deals with the tribal population in states not from the northeast. So, they contain provisions or special administrative arrangements for tribal population in states, for example, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, MP, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, etc. All right. Gujarat, even Rajasthan. All right. These states, these are not northeastern states. What exactly are the provisions? The special provisions. First, that the tribal population in these states will be given tribal advisory councils. Then here the governor will have some special powers. Also, these regions will have powers related to what? Preventing of land transfers from tribal to non-tribal population. Then again, provisions like protecting or safeguarding their culture, right? Or having some control on money lending practices. So this is what is contained in the 5th schedule. How about the 6th schedule? The 6th schedule contains provisions for 4 northeastern states. What are those four northeastern states? They are Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura. Now here, just like in the 5th schedule, we were dealing with tribal advisory councils. Here they have autonomous district councils. All right. Now again, they have the autonomy to frame laws on, let's say, shifting cultivation as well as culture of other cultural aspects of these states. All right. So here we can see that this 6th schedule is particularly focused on safeguarding the tribal interests of these 4 states, safeguarding the autonomy of the tribal populations of these 4 states. All right. And with this background in mind, we can move ahead and try and solve our question. So, what are the provisions made in order to? Option A says protect the interests of scheduled tribes, and incidentally, It happens to be our correct answer. The next question is again a PYQ, and since today we are talking about local governments, we'll be focusing a bit more on the PRIs or the Panchayati Raj Institutions, and let me tell you that this is one of the most recurring topics, favorite topics of UPSC. All right. So in 2015, the UPSC asked a question that said the fundamental object of Panchayati Raj system is to ensure which among the following. And I believe what better way to begin our journey into the local self-government than to study the objective of the Panchayati Raj system. Now there are 4 options given to you. One is people's participation in development. Now let's try and understand that whenever we talk about the Panchayati Raj system, we are basically referring to the 73rd Amendment Act of 1992, which added part 9 into the Constitution, all right, along with an 11th schedule. We are referring to this. Now, the main objective of this is precisely the 3 pointers that have been given here. So, people's participation in development. Notice that when we talk about Panchayati Raj institutions, we are talking about grassroots democracy. We are talking about grassroots democracy, which means people can participate not only in the election of their representatives, but also in various kind of developmental plans. All right, that is the whole idea. Since they are closer to the grassroots, they are more aware of the realistic picture of the real problems that they have to deal with and tackle, and hence this amendment gave a fillip to the PRIs and therefore brought the people closer to developmental plans. Now here again, it doesn't mean that before this the Panchayati Raj system or the Sabha system was not present in India. It has been there since ancient times, all right, in the form of various assemblies or sabhas. In modern times, of course, Lord Ripon during the British time gave it a fillip, gave it an incentive, a boost to what? To the local self-government, all right. And here, of course, this constitutionalized the whole idea. Now, the second point is political accountability at the grassroots. Absolutely. So even Gandhi said that democracy or any sort of, power distribution should not be top down, but rather it should be bottom up, right? And of course, true democracy also means accountability. Now, in what way can the PRIs be accountable? Simply because of, let's say, local pressure, right? And we have social audit as well. Now this is a very important topic for your mains point of view, but we can understand political accountability in the simplest way using these two. And of course, the people can directly question the sarpanch as to where the funds are, why the work that we were hoping would be done is not done, right? And finally, we have democratic decentralization. Now, this word itself is UPSC's favorite. So, if you write it even in your mains answer, you are going to get brownie points, all right? Democratic decentralization is the heart of local government. The whole idea being, again, that the power should not be top down, but rather bottom up, rising from the grassroots. All right. So, This here is the essence of your local self-government. Now, the fourth option says financial mobilization. Now, here, of course, the constitution does give some powers to the Panchayati Raj system, in the sense that the panchayats can levy taxes, they can collect rent, or they can collect some fee or fine. But their main purpose is not financial mobilization. This is not their purpose. On the contrary, they are lacking behind in this particular case, in the case of financial mobilization, because they are dependent largely on grants from the state. All right. So this is not their primary function, even though this is desirable. All right. So, and also, the State Finance Commission is constituted for the mobilization of finances for these, all right, for the panchayats, for the local governments. And therefore, this we can eliminate. And there we have option A as the correct answer. 1, 2 and 3 only. I hope this is clear. Now, before we move forward, I will bring to you the NCERT online course for your UPSC foundation, now at an amazing price of 5,555 rupees. Kindly go check out the course, dial 87501 87501 or click the link in the description for more details. Now, the next question, with reference to constitutional provisions on local self-governance, consider the following statements. 1. After the 73rd and 74th amendments, the constitution treats rural and urban local bodies as two separate systems of governance. Now, the second one says the constitutional amendments require every state, irrespective of size, to set up panchayats at the village, intermediate and district level. So now it says that after the 73rd and 74th Amendment Acts, the constitution treats rural and urban local bodies as two separate sectors. Now let's see what these are. The 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, obviously we've just discussed it, both of 1992, adds part 9. It has to deal with rural local government, and it also adds 11th schedule. Now what is the arrangement? The arrangement is 3-tier. What is the 3-tier system here? The system is that there will be a panchayat at the village level, then there will be a block panchayat or a taluka panchayat at the intermediate level, and finally there will be a zilla parishad at the district level, because zilla means district basically. All right, so this is the 3-tier arrangement. What about 74th Constitutional Amendment Act? Added part 9A, deals with urban local bodies, and added the 12th schedule. Also mandates a 3-tier structure. When I use the term mandates, it means it is constitutionally obligated. All right. So here again there is a 3-tier structure, that is municipality for towns, then municipal councils for smaller urban areas, and municipal corporations for bigger urban areas. Now you have to tell me what exactly qualifies as an urban area. What do you mean by urban area? There are three most basic conditions. You have to tell me at least one in the comment. Just one would also do. If you know all, then it's an icing on the cake. All right. So now here your second statement of the question said that irrespective of the size, that the panchayats should be constituted at three different levels. Like I said, the constitution indeed has mandated such a thing, but there is an exception, and the exception is the intermediary level. This is the exception. And what is the criterion for exception? The population. If a state has a population less than 20 lakhs, then it may skip constituting a panchayat at the intermediary level. For example, Sikkim or Goa. All right. These states need not have the intermediary level of panchayats. All right. So, with this information in mind, let's attempt the question. After the 73rd and 74th amendments, the constitution treats rural and urban local bodies as two separate systems of governments. This is correct. This is accurate. Statement 2 says the constitutional amendments require every state, irrespective of size, to set up panchayats at the village, intermediate and district levels. And we just saw there is of course a size criterion of 20 lakhs. So this statement can be ruled out and we have option A as a correct answer. I hope this is clear. Now another PYQ from 2016. Consider the following statements. The minimum age prescribed for any person to be a member of a panchayat is 25 years. Now I would like to ask you first of all, the articles which deal with the PRIs. Kindly send me the article that deals with articles rather, but one article you understand that deal with the PRI. Article this from this. All right. So first statement says the minimum age prescribed for any person to be a member of panchayat is 25 years. No, this is inaccurate. The minimum age qualification of 25 years is for being a member of the Lok Sabha. Now, interestingly, Article 243F explicitly says, the clause F explicitly says that no person would be barred from being a member of the panchayat on the grounds that he or she is less than 25 years of age, provided the person has completed 21 years. All right. Therefore, the minimum age for a person to be a member of panchayat is 21 years. Therefore, this statement is incorrect. Statement 2 says a panchayat reconstituted after premature dissolution continues only for the remainder of the original term. Now, let's say when we talk about the dissolution of the panchayat, let's first understand how much is the tenure of one election, one panchayat that is elected. So the tenure is 5 years. Which article talks about it? 243 clause E. Now, when we talk about the duration of 5 years, it means that on a normal schedule, the panchayat will hold for 5 years. However, there are grounds on which, or there are reasons for which the panchayat may need to be dissolved by the state. What are those reasons? It could be anything. For example, some corrupt practices have been noticed, or there is a collapse of administrative machinery, or the panchayat is not convening its duties properly. All right. So it can be dissolved before 5 years. In which case the elections will have to be held. Now, when will the elections be held? Re-elections will be held either within 6 months of dissolution, 6 months of dissolution of the Panchayat, or before the completion of term, whichever is earlier, right? If the term is being completed before 6 months, then otherwise within 6 months. All right. Now here is the key. The re-election will take place only for the remainder of the term. So if the Panchayat was elected in 2019 till 2024 and it got dissolved in 2022, then there will be a re-election within 6 months. All right, there will be a re-election within 6 months, and the new Panchayat will hold good only for the remaining 2 years. All right, that is the whole idea. However, suppose that this was supposed to dissolve in 2024 in its normal tenure, and only 6 months are remaining or 4 months are remaining, then what will happen? Then there is no need for a fresh election. All right. If it is dissolved with just 6 months remaining from its normal tenure, then there will be no fresh election. So this statement again, only for the remainder of the original term, is correct, and therefore option B here is our correct answer. I hope this is making sense. The next question is again a PYQ from 2017. Local self-government can be best explained as an exercise in, and you have 4 options. Now very straightforwardly, we just discussed a few moments ago that local self-government is actually essentially democratic decentralization, which means democratic decentralization is at the heart of local self-government. It is about distributing power, delegating power from or to the grassroots level, which means the power is not concentrated at the top, but rather has been devolved. There is a devolution of power to the bottommost level, to the grassroots. All right, and hence we know democratic decentralization, and option B is the correct answer. However, it is interesting to look at the other options as well and see why they do not make the cut here. Option A says federalism. Now it might appear to be a case of federalism. When we talked about federalism, we said that it was a vertical division of power, right? And there is a main unit, the centralizing unit, and then there are certain subordinate units, and there is an asymmetrical power division between the central unit and the subordinate unit. But local self-governments are actually creatures of the state government in India, right? State governments are actually authorized a lot to deal with the local self-government. Hence, it is not a new type of unit. It is not a different kind of unit, but rather a part of the subordinate unit that we just discussed. All right. Hence, it is not federalism. Option C says administrative delegation. Now, administrative delegation has to deal with executive functions clearly, and basically it would be appointment based, right? So, if it was an administrative delegation, that would imply that the local self-governments are appointed, but they are elected by the people. Hence, they are representative of grassroots democracy, not of administrative delegation. All right. Option D says direct democracy. Now see, direct democracy is fairly rare. It basically means that people are voting on all issues, all right, all policy matters using tools like referendum, recall, plebiscite, etc. Here, while the local people are actually contributing, they are contributing to the development plans, to planning, all right. They are not still voting on everything, but they are essentially voting for electing their local representatives. Hence, they are not voting on every single policy issue, all right. So this is not an example of direct democracy, and therefore we have the correct answer, which is option number B. Now, before I take you to your practice question, I have once again brought for you the NCERT online course for your UPSC Foundation. Kindly go check the course out. It has various amazing features like 2 years validity and 150 plus classes. The admissions are now open, and the catch over here is that if you get yourself enrolled in this course and then visit any of our offline centers to get enrolled in the IAS Foundation Classroom course, you will receive a full fee waiver equivalent to the NCERT course fee, and now this is available at a very reasonable, attractive price. Kindly check the link in the description box for more details or call 87501 87501. Now here I have for you another PYQ as your practice question. Please take a look at it and attempt to solve the question. If you found today's session useful, please like, share and subscribe. Do send me the answer to the practice question in the comment section. Thanks for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.